the power. All right. And look, I wasted enough time that more people came. Hello, more people. Well, before we progress through our agenda, does anybody else have other announcements they would like to make?
I would like to announce that I love George's Zoom background.
You missed the whole story.
I
When
use
somebody
this
drove
all
their
the
car.
time. Not all the time, but I use it a lot, but hardly anybody ever notices it. So I'll email you the story.
Sweet.
I noticed it. I just heard the story for the first time.
We don't ask about Fred's chicken every time we see the chicken. We have to get something done.
I, however, would like to know about Fred's chicken. I have never heard the story.
It started out as a one-time joke that got out of hand.
Okay, that makes sense.
My wife was packing to go to Idaho, and she took the aardvark, and she told the chicken that I probably wouldn't take it to Seattle, where there was a Medical Library Association meeting. And it looked at me with these big stuffed chicken eyes, so imploringly. So I took it and took pictures of the chicken in various places with various people to send to her. I don't remember how or why I put it up as a web page, but people really liked it. So I gotta keep up until someone tells me to stop.
Okay, thanks, Fred.
Oh, and upcoming is a stop motion video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, except I came up about 25 seconds short of material, so I have to take some more pictures.
Okay, I'll be looking for it.
We'll put that in the announcements. Upcoming stop motion chicken video.
Filling an interlibrary loan.
Jessie, did you unmute yourself like you were going to say something earlier?
Yes, I just wanted to say that Bywater Solutions and Des Moines Public Library are hosting an Iowa Summit next Friday, where we'll be talking about koha. Andrew is one of the presenters, where he'll be talking about koha and the open source community. And I'll share the link. We have a ton of folks attending that are non-koha users who are very interested in learning more about koha. So we're really excited to just spread the love and talk about koha. So it should be a good event.
Come to Des Moines. It'll be great. You know you want to go to Des Moines.
Is it going to be recorded?
Unfortunately, it is not going to be recorded. Generally, when we do these, we try to record them and broadcast them, but we just didn't have the resources in the facility to stream the event.
I'm thinking of putting in application for a program at the Special Libraries Association. So an easy introduction to koha. I forget if I actually do put it in, it gets accepted. I may be going to ask you for assistance, all of you.
Anybody else want to jump in with an announcement?
Conference related, I have one. 2024 KohaCon conference proposals are open. If you want to make a proposal, I made one because I get to go to Montreal and I'm excited. So hopefully I get to see some other people there.
So this is applications to present something at KohaCon 2024. Cool. Do you know when the application window closes?
No, I looked for a deadline. They sent it out last month, and I don't think they've got an actual deadline anywhere that I could find.
Yeah, I emailed Caroline specifically, and she said, hey, we haven't decided. So you have a month.
Does anyone have good enough French to tell me what the slogan means? No, that sounds like a no. We'll all take that to our graves.
I'm sure you would understand loud French if someone wanted to.
We can try that. After this meeting, we'll take turns reading it increasingly loudly at each other.
I think it's learn and build together.
I would believe that.
You're spot
Like-
on.
That's what it means now. It has been decided. Okay, one last call for announcements. And the window is closed. No more announcements
Oops.
ever.
Yeah, well, this wasn't really an announcement, but I'll bring it up later when we talk about bugs.
Okay, sounds good. That brings us to new business. We have one new business item, and that's Kelly from Bywater is going to talk to us about 2305 upgrades. Kind of how that process has been going for Bywater partners, what's been exciting, what's been, I don't know, challenging. So without further ado, I'm going to mute myself.
Thanks, Andrew. I didn't know I'd be the only headliner today, so. Thank you everyone for having me today. Again, my name is Kelly McGilligot. I work with Bywater Solutions, and I'm here as requested by Andrew and Bob to talk about the 2305 upgrade process. I feel like I'm talking to a room full of users of Koha for a very long time, so I may be saying things that you already all know, but I just wanted to kind of give a brief overview of the upgrade process in general, just to kind of give you a background look at what we do and how we get this ready for y'all, and as Bywater partner specifically, but also, you know, the release notes come out, our team will go through those and do some testing, you know, trying these new features and enhancements in a test site, looking at the different changes and data and, you know, how they all work together. However, we're not as robust as a library system would be using testing these features. We're not using it in a real world situation. And so we request that before we upgrade all our partners, are asked for early adopters. Is there anyone in the room that was an early adopter for 2305? Just Andrew? Okay. And that would be real libraries that go live on the system before we release it to the rest of our partners as kind of like, let's see what happens. And we have a great communication method of just using our ticketing system and our Slack channel to have conversations. And I think one of the best things about Koha and the community around Koha is just the ability to communicate and talk about the different things that are happening and experiences you're having. So this is just a great way to start that conversation. And what I love to hear about is the exciting things that people are excited about. Like I think Andrew was the first one to talk about the autocomplete and SQL reports in the Slack channel. And it's kind of like, ooh, you know, we like to see the great things. And then our hope is, as these early adopters use it in this real world experience, they will let us know, we'll file bugs or they'll file bugs, and we'll try to patch those before we have our rest of our partners go live. In addition to upgrading, which I believe everyone is upgraded as a Bywater partner to 2305, we also do post updates. So they're the little 2305 dot something, you know, 1 or .2. And those are individual, like little micro updates that are going to push those specifically security bugs or really necessary things that we need to push into the system. For our partners, test servers this coming Monday will go to 230508. And then our library partners will go to that version the week of the 19th. So we're slowly moving into further into 2305 as we move along. I think that for things that people got really excited about and talked about the most was in the suspended holds. It's funny how the little things you don't think about, how they're styled differently. That was kind of big. And I applaud anyone who filed that bug, because I think we all dealt with it for so long. And it was one of those like, wouldn't somebody just needs to put it in writing to say it would be nice to identify a suspended holds. I don't have that bug on the top of my head, but it was suspended holds should be styled differently. A few others, I think acquisitions is getting very robust in its way. We had multi-receive. That was a great feature that allowed libraries to receive multiple items at a time. I believe it was Andrew who filed a bug that said you could only receive the items on the screen. So up to 20, and then you would have to do it again. So there's been a bug that's filed on that. Again, just getting into the system and playing around and finding those things is great to support the rest of the folks. A couple other things I think in acquisitions people liked was the vendor interfaces, where you could add a link to that vendor's website as well as aliases. Maybe somebody put Bywater in there and put BWS, who knows, as an alias. So an easy way to search for those. I do want to say that next week Bywater is having, and it's open to everyone, a Q&A session for 2305 next week. I will throw a link in the chat for people to register. And this is just a great time to, have conversations about things that you've seen in 2305, or have, just hear what other questions people are asking about 2305. That will be hosted by our educator team on Valentine's Day. What a beautiful day to have a 2305 question and answer time. I have one more that I think that was pretty special. Was circulation messages to be editable? Is anyone having like a great moment with those? Oh, the excitement. Oh, good. Yes. Like, that's just huge. That's like a huge thing to just be able to like edit it and add a little bit more information versus having to add a second message, which definitely starts to clutter the screen, or having to delete it and then retype the whole thing. So that's pretty awesome. Anybody have any thoughts, questions? Any like aha moments? Thank you, Andrew, for putting that in the. I knew you would.
Well, I was curious who filed it. That's absolutely a bug I filed because someone else told me I should. So who knows?
Did you file it?
I did.
Okay, good.
Really, is the instance that people are going live on 215 230508 or another .0 something?
20 upgrades. The next version will be 230508. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The week of the 19th. But test servers.
Is 08 the current one?
Current in the community or current with Bywater?
Yeah, the community.
Current would be 2311. Maybe.
No, I mean 230508 of the 2305 family.
Oh, I'm not sure.
It is 230508 was just deployed on February 3rd.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the most recent.
How do I update so quickly?
Thanks, Jessie.
Yeah, I haven't tried 2311 yet.
There's definitely lots of Koha sandboxes, sandboxes that are already on 2311. I can link to that. There's a wiki page called Koha Sandboxes if you are interested.
I just started looking into a 2311 feature yesterday. Should start getting ready for when we're on that. That seems too soon to be already preparing for the next upgrade, but here we are.
To give you a kind of idea for 2305, we had 26 new features, 145 enhancements, and 701 bug fixes. But for 2311, new features, but 330 new enhancements, like doubled. And less bug fixes, 576. So it's gonna be fun.
I have to admit, regarding the 2305 upgrade, I'm really on the fence about the autocomplete for SQL. Because it can be really helpful, but it can also be really annoying to where it's constantly popping up, especially when I'm used to pressing tab to move things, and that doesn't move things anymore. It just brings up the pop-up. So I'm still trying to get used to that.
I think that got patched.
Uh,
I think, let me find, because I filed a bug for that, and also for the fact that it opens the autocomplete when you close a parenthesis or a quotation mark, which is real annoying and dumb. But I think the tab thing got fixed.
awesome.
Was I dreaming it that somebody filed a bug saying they'd like it to be able to be turned off and turned on?
Somebody did file that, yeah.
And yes, I dream in Koha. So it wouldn't shock me if it was a dream.
Well, I'm gonna dig for that autocomplete bug and put it in chat, but does anybody else have 2305 questions or comments for the group or for Kelly, Bywater, the world?
I don't have a question, but we've noticed that when we run our, and this has only happened since we upgraded, we run our holds list. We have to run it twice because we run it, it'll say, oh, you have 5 holds. We know we have more than 5. So we have to run it a second
That was
time.
one of those weird things that.
And I didn't know we were the only ones doing that or having to do that.
And when you ran it a second time, what happened, Georgette?
We would get more, we would get what we should have on, we get anywhere from, we don't get a lot, we're a small library, but maybe 50 holds or 80 holds. And so we got that back like the second time we ran it, but the first time we ran it, we got my 5 or 10 holds. We're like, no, we know we have more than that, especially now with Post Fallsdale, and we're getting a lot of their holds. And so we know we're getting more than that. So we run it the second time and then we get, what our normal amount should be.
Does anyone else experience that? Is it holds queue you're running?
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder if it's our system then. If nobody else is having the issue, could be on our end.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I'll have my tech guy take a look at it.
Scrolling through bugs, just so you know.
Did something change with the price mapping or something with this update? Because we had to change our koha to mark mapping because everything we were importing from Baker and Taylor wasn't importing the prices anymore.
There were a couple bugs around that. I know I signed off on patches for them.
We figured it out eventually, but it threw us off for a few baskets.
I think Jessie put something in the partner listserv. Juliet, do you get the partner listserv email?
Sometimes.
We can forward it to you, but it just talked about the bug number that changed and steps to rectify it. But it sounds like you rectified it, but
yeah,
we'll forward it anyways, just so you have it.
Cool.
But you were not the only one.
Now I'm having an issue with if you blank out the expiration date on a patron when you're editing their details, it's calculating the expiration date based on the registration date. So it's putting it in the past sometimes, which I'm not quite, I have a bug in or a ticket into Bywater about that, but I'm not sure whether that was a change or.
Yeah, there was. I saw a bug around that too somewhere. This is the very frustrating Bugzilla half memory. Like, yeah, that's a thing.
So how were you, when you registered them or when you later on?
When later on, when you're editing them, if you take the date out of the expiration field, then it'll auto-calculate a new registry or new expiration date, but it's 2 years from the registration date. And so then I had one that recalculated 2017, so.
So what is it basing on, I wonder?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be calculating that from the current date, and instead it's doing it from the date the patron is created.
Yeah. And if you just don't erase that, then you're fine.
But sometimes you just erase it and then you're like, uh-oh.
So I think we have segued naturally into open discussion about bugs and issues and etc. Juliet, if you have more to say about your patron expirations, by all means, have at it. But otherwise, I think Kristi sent in a bug about lost cards.
Yeah, it's not entirely about lost cards. It's really about restrictions on patron accounts. And it's bug 35703 if anyone's interested in looking at it. And what we've discovered is that there's not really a good way to prevent a patron that is has a manual restriction or any kind of restriction from placing holds on items. There's no system preference for it. And you would think that based on what's next to the radio button for marking a card lost or stolen, that would prevent holds, but it does not either. So it's just, that seems like a bug. There should either be a system preference or that radio button should prevent holds.
I was surprised to see in your bug that Koha tells you that marking the card lost will block a hold. I wouldn't have expected it to block a hold. So yeah, at the very least, that note should be changed to be accurate, but I could see.
There are a few things bundled up in there, but just wanted to call it out to people's attention. I'm not sure if other people would be interested in that kind of fix.
We had run into that issue with restricted patrons before, where somebody has something that's 20 items that are 6 months overdue and they're still able to place holds, and there's not a way to block that.
There's not just a restrictions, block holds, yes or no system preference?
No.
Oh, see, I would have expected there to be one.
I did too.
Yeah, it seems like you get your choice of whether restrictions block checkouts or whether they block renewals, and yeah.
The one thing you can do is that max reserves, something like that, where you can set a dollar amount where if somebody owes more than this amount of money, then they can't renew or place holds. But that's really the only thing which doesn't apply to, I mean, fines aren't the only reason that a patron label is restricted.
Yes, I allow them sometimes to place hold unrestricted because it gets them in the library to talk to them. Because they may not know that they're restricted. I actually just had to restrict somebody because of interlibrary loans. Their child didn't return them, so I blocked all the cards in family. And they came in to use the cards and they're like, well, it's blocked. It's like, why? It's because you haven't returned these materials. Okay, go home, get the materials and return them, then they're able to get their holds. So we kind of in a way are okay with them placing holds on a restricted item just for that reason. It gets them in here. It's like when I send them a lost letter or a damaged letter, it gets them in here to talk to them. So I guess it could go either way. There's some that would like it blocked, some that wouldn't.
Juliet put a bug in the chat that looks like it's a year and a half old or so, from 2022, suggesting the ability to have restrictions block holds. And it was suggested there that this be configurable by restriction type, which make sense. And that would allow it to be pretty flexible between libraries. History teaches us that sooner or later there will be another axis upon which we need to vary this behavior, but we can start here. Goodbye, Kris. If you're not gone already, Kris says in chat that it was fun to lurk. And he
Bye.
will be back for future meetings.
Well, this isn't, yes, it could be a bug. I was having a problem with newly cataloged books not showing up or not being searchable by anything, ISBN, barcode, title, but not consistently. Not everything recently cataloged would not be found. And if I modified the record in some way, anyway, or checked it out and in, it would show up. Well, finally did the obvious things, ran Elasticsearch, and that seems to have taken care of the problem. But now I have to figure out why Elasticsearch isn't running. It's rebuilding every now and then.
Yeah, well, and it hopefully it's not continuing to occasionally. It sounds like it was just failing to index things as you created those records
I think so.
randomly, and that's distressing.
I haven't added anything in a while.
It's
But
neat.
back in 3.12, I had to check everything out and then back in before it would be recognized.
I think that there was a discussion of something similar at the cataloging meeting last week,
Yeah,
where
that's
somebody
what
else was having a similar problem.
I
Or
brought
was
it
it
up
you?
originally, but other people were having similar but not identical problems. So yeah, if anything weird happens, I would say try re-indexing Elasticsearch. It might take care of it. And I still haven't figured out why it's still status yellow with 50% of the shards doing something strange, but that's for another day.
These are the things that make me drag my feet on switching to Elastic. Because, like, it should be way cooler and better. But then, I don't know, it's confusing.
What I like
Seems more
about
complicated.
Elasticsearch is it will let you index any mark field you want,
Yeah,
which is kind of neat. I mean, I can't remember why I needed to, but I put the 856U URL in the index. Yeah, neat. And you could do that in Zebra, but it took me ages to figure out how, and of course I've forgotten because that was a long time ago.
yeah, it sounds about right. So is anyone else deeply enthused about some aspect of Koha and want to tell us all about it?
This isn't an aspect of Koha necessarily, but I did add a bunch of stuff to the Koha wiki about notices and slips. And I don't remember if it was at this meeting last month or at a different meeting. I said, you know, that one of the areas, I'll find the page for it, the Koha notices and slips library on the wiki. I reorganized it by type of notice, and 100% of the user submitted notices on the wiki are for circulation related notices. There's nobody submitted anything for any other type of notice. So I was just want to encourage everybody, if you have a cool notice or slip that is different than the default out of the box notice and slip in Koha, it'd be nice if we had some more content on the wiki. And Andrew just put the link that I was just about to go searching for in the chat box. So there's a bunch of stuff there. What I added recently were the default notices and slips for Koha 2311, 2305, and 2211. There have been some additions in there, but if you can find those links to those pages on the notices and slips library. So it'd be really nice to have some more stuff in here. So feel free to add your stuff. And if you don't know how to use the Koha wiki, if you don't know how to log in and create an addition to it, Heather Hernandez is going to be on a video with Christopher and I soon, where she talks about how to get a wiki account and how to add something to the Koha wiki. We thought that would be a valuable thing to do a video for. So
That's great, George. Both things. One, thanks for updating all those wiki pages. That's amazing, and an area that absolutely was ripe for attention in the wiki. And also cool that you're making a video about how to get involved on the wiki.
Yeah, and that's really what I want, is I want more people to add stuff to the wiki to make, especially for notices and slips. There's all these questions about how do we change the notices and slips? You know, it's a lot of what the discussion about notices and slips in the last couple of years has been, well, I'm trying to do this and I didn't know how to do it. And I asked Lucas, and Lucas helped me eventually after he was able to go out and learn some stuff. So put those things that you've learned on the wiki, shuttle that stuff over there so that so we don't always have to go to Lucas and say, I think the question I had for him one time is I can get the phone number for the library branch that's sending the message really easy. But if I want to get the patron's home library, the phone number for the home library, how do I do that? And I haven't added that to the wiki yet. So I'm guilty of what I'm accusing everybody else of not doing. But that's the kind of stuff that, you know, if we can get that all in the wiki, it'll be better than just having to rely on, well, we're a Bywater customer and we managed to carve out like 3 minutes of Lucas's time where he could spend on this and figure it out for us. So.
I think I brought up in the general meeting, and I probably brought up in other places when we get finally set up, go to send out overdues via Gmail. It sends out a friendly reminder each book is due, and then I think it's 1 day later sends out same thing but with everything blank. Anyway, I finally have examples. I checked a book out to my dog and she didn't return it. In fact, she still has it. So.
Are you using auto renewal?
No.
Oh.
So anyway, I can put that on the koha-US list.
Sounds like a fun problem. Interesting.
And
Maybe
it's
more than fun.
only the one that goes out when the book is due. When it's overdue or very overdue, nope. Weird.
Kristi had a question in chat. I think this was about George's video about how to use the wiki. Is that going to be a teottv? Trying to think how to say that.
It will. We were trying to get Heather to record one with us like next week in a couple weeks from now that would be available, but she has jury duty right now and she's unavailable to do this. So once she's back from jury duty, we're going to schedule a time with her to do it for some upcoming Thursday. Not sure exactly when. It was Heather's idea, and so I don't want to. We could do it without her, and it could be out like in a Thursday or so. But I don't want to leave Heather out of the equation because it's fun to have guests on our little idiotic videos. For those of you who have been guests, you know what I mean.
Well, friends, have ye other bugs or discussion items?
I just have a general question. We have discovery passes and we have them set to automatically check in after, 7 days or whatever, but they don't trigger holds when it gets checked in. Is that a thing? Because then we have, 20 or 40 holds on our discovery pass for the Thinkery. And then one automatically gets checked in and it shows available. And then we have to monitor that. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just thinking that, when you check something in regular, it goes, it triggers the next hold. But this is a cron job, so I guess that's different.
Oh, hey, look, it's a 2311 fix.
It's coming, Rhonda.
It's coming?
2311.
All right, I'm just pulling it up. Automatic check-in should be able to optionally. Yes, that's exactly it.
That does seem like the sort of thing that would have gotten missed on the first pass on automatic check-in.
Okay, so it's 2311. All right, we got a few months to go here yet. Okay, that's good to know, because I tested it on a dummy record that didn't have any holds following, so I didn't notice that that wasn't happening. So oops.
We've been having an interesting problem with overzealous cron jobs. And so some of our stuff that has been marked lost keeps getting checked in by the cron job. And so I tested one, and 4 days in a row, I would mark it lost, and then at 2 a.m. it would mark it as available again. And so I don't know exactly why it's doing that, but we've got a ticket in right now, but it must have gotten bored. I don't know.
That's
Anybody
weird.
else notice that?
We have not had that problem, but we've got another cron job that's doing more than it needs to do. So we have a cron job that will update new patrons to regular after 30 days. And when it does that, it goes in and overwrites the user ID in the account with a number. Just like it looks like it's just counting up, So we're up to about 600 now, which I'm on my list is to put that ticket in. But that seemed pretty weird. We just discovered that yesterday.
This is on expired patrons?
No, they're patrons. So what we have is when somebody gets a new card, for the first 30 days, they're in a new category. And then if they behave themselves in those 30 days, return their stuff that they checked out and, all that stuff, then we will upgrade them with a cron job to a standard member where they can check out more and stuff like that. But that part is all working, but it also is going in and just overriding the user ID. What I found really interesting when we tested it was they can log into their account using either their barcode number or this magic user ID that they don't know anything about. So both of them worked to log them into their account online. But
Maybe the cron jobs are becoming self-aware.
yes, I think that's it.
Yeah, Rhonda, my feedback on your issue has gotten to the helpful place of, man, that's messed up. Like, yeah, I shouldn't do that. We can all agree.
Yeah, Geeta and I were just staring at it yesterday going, that's not right,
I don't even know that anything has particularly changed. That'd be the update patron category cron job, which I don't think changed in 2305.
Definitely file that ticket, Rhonda, just so we can find out what this cron job is deciding to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we have that cron job running to update children to adults when they turn 18. And so I'm writing a report right now to look and see if there's been anything happening that I'm not aware of. So
Okay.
if anything weird's going on, I'll let you know.
Okay, great.
Michael, do you know which cron job is unlosing your lost items?
Not yet, no. I think I just turned in that ticket recently. We haven't had a chance to get into it too deeply yet. But it's
That's
working for multiple different lost statuses.
Weird. Because that like there really shouldn't be any cron job like checking things in or unlosing things. Maybe item modification by age could be, but so everybody go home and check on your koha. Make sure it's not doing weird things when you're not looking.
Well, that brings you to, I want to be able to see my crons in the staff interface. And then we
Some
can
gooey
really see
crons.
what's happening. Mhm.
My crons are not gooey enough. Most of those actions at least are in the action logs anymore. If you're looking to see what your crons have done rather than what you should expect your crons to do in the future, that data at least is pretty accessible.
Is that what I find in var/log? Or are they hiding in a different place? There's also var/log/Elasticsearch, which brings up text files I do not understand at all.
I don't remember the file path for those cron files. Yeah, it's one of those things I don't get to touch. With good reason. I should not be allowed. Yeah.
But I'd really prefer to know what I'm doing. It's not extremely urgent, so I could have learned later.
Well, my friends, I had a slow internal 10 count and took a drink of tea and nobody jumped up with something else to say. That seems like a measure of meeting finality.
You're here.
So thank you all for attending and bringing many fine things to talk about. Kelly wants to interject something, I think.
I totally forgot to say one more thing. I'm sorry, Andrew. You have to count to 10 again, I think.
Yeah.
Bywater will be at the PLA conference in April. So if anybody is going, please definitely stop by the booth. Let us know you're coming. We have a little registration form that we can let you know about our Bywater party. But if you are not coming, we are having a PLA preview webinar next week that will show you what we're going to talk about at PLA, all the new features coming to Koha and Aspen Discovery. So I will put that in the chat so anybody can register. Again, it's open to anybody. It's just a matter of like, hey, come spend 30 minutes with us and have some fun.
You know if Bywater will be at the Special Libraries Association conference in Providence, and I think it's July.
We don't have that one, Fred, on our list.
If anybody else is going to special libraries, keep Fred company.
Just out of curiosity, is anybody here going to the Aspen conference in March? Other than the Bywater people that I kind of halfway expect to be there anyway, so.
My colleague Joe is going to go.
Yeah.
He's
Didn't know there was one.
It sounds
you
really
going,
exciting.
I was just curious. We've got my boss has got a contract on his desk. He needs to, that he said he would have signed by last Friday, but I asked him about it yesterday, but we're going to move to Aspen for our OPAC this fall. So.
On the one hand, George, I'll be glad to have your energy in the Aspen community doing Aspen-y things. On the other hand, please keep doing all the Koha-y things you're doing. Please just add more time to your day.
I don't plan on stopping the koha things because we're not going to the Aspen staff client.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Yeah, George, we need you. Don't abandon us.
Okay, this time I counted to 10 really quickly in my head and took a very quick drink of tea. And we're going to try again. Kelly. All
Sorry,
right.
Andrew.
Yeah, you should be. Thank you all. Have a pleasant day. If you are on the conference committee and want to attend a conference committee meeting, that will happen in, let's say like 5 minutes. Give ourselves a break. And we'll see you there. Goodbye.
Thanks, Andrew. See you in 5 minutes.
See you soon.
This is a lively meeting. Did the general meeting disband early?
It most certainly did.
Wow. Sorry, I missed it. I was slammed with security issues this morning.
Oh.
And I'll have to pop in and out on this conference committee as well, because I've got people asking for new passwords as they come in.
Yuck. That's the nicest word to say about what you are going through right now.
Yeah, apparently there was a security issue and IT had to disable more than half of the users and public computers. And so, yeah, I've been scrambling all day.
Oh. I will not complain about my lack of response for my office of general counsel about a contract that's been out for 2 months, because that's nothing compared to what you are